Court's adjourned for lunch on day 10 of Shri and Dewani's trial in the Western Cape High Court. And as always, News 24's Roy McKenzie is sitting through proceedings. He's joining us in studio to have a quick chat about what's happened so far. Roy, you've got a very official-looking piece of paper with you today.
Yes, this is just one of the heads of argument that was presented to the judge yesterday. So if you recall the testimony of the German master, so-called the male escort, Leopold Leiser, who had been contracted by Dewani on 3 times for whatever they did, his testimony was ruled inadmissible, and the judge stood him down as a witness, and she asked both the defense and the state to present to her written heads of argument as to why his testimony should or should not be considered relevant. So this morning he came back into court, and the state then argued, and this is essentially what they did. I mean, it's a very official legal document, but in the argument they were basically stating that a conversation that Leiser had with Dewani could be construed as a possible motive. The defense obviously argued otherwise, and the judge went with what the defense had argued. I think basically what she's trying to state is that the fact that Dewani was bisexual or gay and had procured the services of a male prostitute does not clearly link to a motive to have his wife murdered. So anything that is not clear, or anything that is going to essentially waste the court's time because it's not going to be relevant, is ruled inadmissible. So Leiser was on the stage, on the witness stand for a very short time. He basically detailed how he found out about the murder. He saw breaking news. He then went to the police. He detailed how he got paid £18,000, which is quite a lot of money, but then he argued afterwards that he couldn't really work as a male escort because his name was all over the media. So that was really what he needed just to live on. But that was about it. I mean, they couldn't really ask him anything more relating to a sexual, Dewani's sexuality, or they couldn't ask him anything more about a conversation which he supposedly had with Dewani. And that's the evidence the state was trying to introduce, essentially that, and this is what we infer, is that Dewani had had a conversation with him in which he'd spoken about his conflicted sexuality and his engagement and how he needed to find a way out of it. So that's now not admissible, so that won't be part of the case.
Now that Leiser's testimony is inadmissible, are all eyes in the courtroom back on Tonga?
Yes, so as soon as he stood down, Zola Tonga came back, and the state is still examining him, so nothing really juicy has come out because all of this is kind of common knowledge. This all emerged during his murder trial, and we're just going very painfully slowly through the procedure. So we saw a lot of CCTV footage of him arriving with the Dewanis at the Cape Grace Hotel. He was explaining, essentially how Dewani went and checked in and asked him to wait outside. He came outside again and they had a conversation. This is supposedly when Dewani asked him that he needed a job done. And just before lunch we adjourned for lunch, he'd got to the point where the hijacking had happened in Guguletu and what happened, and the procedure of what, the sort of chain of events that happened.
Thank you very much.
Sure.
That's News 24's Roy McKenzie. You can follow him on Twitter and stay tuned to News 24 Live for all the latest Dewani video news.